right, Meg, thanks for that. So many of us made New Year's resolutions, everything from getting fit to improving our finances, but they all have one thing in common, and we believe reaching them is going to make us happier.
Yeah, and our friend Michael Rosenblum, who came all the way from Chicago, flew out here to CT Style just to join us. He's got a brand new book out. It's called Happily Ever Always. Michael, we notice it's not ever after, it's always, forever.
Exactly, because after means it ends, and always means it's endless. And so if you think about like the storybooks we read as kids, they should be happily ever always, right? Because we should always live in that happiness, as opposed to what? We're dead and then we're done?
Right.
Good point. How did you find the secret to happiness, and now that you're sharing?
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that. Going through the trials and tribulations of life, if you think about it, people are like diamonds. They go through a rough cut and a hard polish in order to shine. It's the same thing. We go through all the different situations that occur within our lives in order to begin to shape us, to allow us to become who we're supposed to really be.
Right.
And what have you gone through personally to kind of shape you as a person and inspire you to write this book?
Oh my God, this segment isn't that long for me to go through it, okay?
We give you some extra time here. Yeah.
But all kinds of things, from like losing a lot of money, losing a fortune, to rebuilding a fortune, being in litigation for years when I was in the industry of media, all kinds of things, dealing with nasty people, which we all deal with.
Yeah. Well, it's tough because we were talking about before the segment, they can drag you down and it becomes toxic.
Absolutely. You know, if you think about it, what's interesting about people is sometimes we say, wow, there's a lot of meanies and moodies in the world, and meanie and moody people aren't very nice. But they're in our lives sometimes to teach us things about ourselves. And as we learn more about ourselves and we discover ourselves, we find that plateau of happiness, because we realize no matter how much money we can make or how many times we fall in love, we can lose our fortunes and we can fall out of love. But if we find the stability within ourselves and sort of just that plateau of happiness, that security, that we love ourselves and appreciate who we are, then that's what really makes us shine.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Another interesting fact is that New Haven, Connecticut was ranked in the bottom 15% of happy cities. So we're really not so happy around here.
We're meanie and moody here in New Haven.
Well, obviously, we're going to have to get the book and learn how to perk up a little bit, right?
And you mentioned it all comes from inside of yourself, your own happiness. So what would you attribute or suggest to some of our viewers? I mean, is it going to yoga? Is it therapy? Is it working out? I mean, what's the I don't want to say the secret, but what do you recommend?
Well, like, for instance, yoga. That's interesting you said that, because, for instance, the interesting thing about this book and how it differs from many of the other self-help or job hunting books, and the reason why I just mentioned that is because it did hit #1 on Amazon in spirituality. Thank you, very humbled. It hit #9 for job hunting. But what makes it different is at the end of each of the chapters, there are 1 or 2 or 3 questions which prompt the reader to ask questions about themselves. And when they write it, they actually become the book. They become their own book.
Then, right?
As far as yoga, real quick, it's interesting because if you're in a routine and you're stuck and you don't know how to find something new, go to a yoga class. You never know who you're going to meet. Could be Mrs. Right, it could be Mr. Right, it could be the next person that hires you for a new job, right?
It could be a friend.
Right?
You never know.
There's signs everywhere.
Yeah, and I feel like that's important to try new things, and it breaks you out of your comfort zone. And I mean, we kind of get caught up in waking up, going to work, coming home, making dinner, doing the dishes.
The routine every day.
Break it up a little bit.
But it's also important to have those negative things, because then you can't appreciate the good stuff, right?
Exactly, like people that are horrible to us in our jobs.
Sometimes, right?
Right, but don't wish your villains away. The idea is that they could teach you something about yourself, which absolutely helps you get to the next place. You know, think about it. Fear is nothing more than faith turned inside out.
That's a good one.
There you go.
Write that one down in your in
Michael,
the back of the book.
thank you so much. Well, find your book on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, it's actually in 32,000 distribution outlets in 12 countries right now.
So you're a big
languages.
deal.
Wow.
No.
Hey, thanks for making time for us today.
Hey, now, Michael, thank you so much for joining us on CT Style, and have a safe trip back to Chicago.
Thank you.
Try the New Haven pizza and compare it to the Chicago pizza.
Yeah, he knows already.
There's plenty right here. Hey, we have some Living Local deals.
Yeah, we love giving away free money. You can get